They didn't, and that's the point. They could have, but they didn't. Good morning to you. Good Monday morning from Landover, Maryland. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Steelers. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into hockey and or baseball, I also usually offer daily shots of Penguins and Pirates. Not today, it's Veterans Day. But no holiday would ever preclude me from commenting on, Steelers 28, Commanders 27. And being 7-2, and being alone atop the AFC North, and all kinds of other goodness, which I am sorry I will not allow to be buried beneath anything and really everything that did actually go wrong here yesterday. You know why? Because they could have allowed it all to go wrong after that fake punt went wrong. Meaning, James Pierre just dropping the ball for no reason. But they didn't allow that. The special teams themselves came right back with their own brand of splash that resulted in their own touchdown. They could have allowed the offense to get unhinged whenever the running game didn't go as well as they wanted, or Russell Wilson finally threw an interception, or neither Calvin Austin nor Van Jefferson could seem to find the football when Russ would put it up for them. But they didn't, because George Pickens found a way to continue making breathtaking catches, and Mike Williams running a route he had not yet run with this football team in practice comes through with a winning bomb by running exactly underneath the footballs the way the other guys should have been doing all along. The defense could have gotten discouraged about that 95-yard drive that Jaden Daniels led, but they didn't. They kept playing. They kept going after Daniels. They kept him contained the entire time. Dude had 4 rushing yards. Keanu Benton told me that by the time the second quarter had come along, Daniels didn't want anything to do with this, meaning this event. The list could go on and on and on. The Commanders had the football late in the game after that Williams touchdown. Could have been scary stuff. Could have been the kind of thing that would be a really harsh show of reality for a team that had done some not so savory things over the course of this Sunday afternoon. But that didn't happen because DeMonte Casey and Minkah Fitzpatrick kept Zach Ertz from getting the extra, what was that, like a millimeter or something that he needed? Minkah told me he thought he actually got it, but he just had to be sure. So he held on and he pushed and they got their big stop. Listen to me here, okay? No, wait. First, listen to Mason McCormick. Listen to something that McCormick told me after the game.
Yeah, I feel like it was gritty. We came in there and we just kept pushing. The game of football is imperfect, so we just got to go out there and do what we do, be consistent, and it worked out.
You can laugh at me or anybody who's bringing up intangibles. You can do that. You can cite statistics. You can even point to the standings and say, the Steelers aren't this or they aren't that. You can shake your fist about one thing or another that might have upset you along the way yesterday, one thing or another that might have upset you along this whole season to date. You can express trepidation about getting your hopes up too high because, they've been dashed before and because the Steelers haven't won a playoff game in way too long. You can feel any which way you want about this football team. How I feel, increasingly, is how they feel. What you heard from McCormick there, I heard from around the room. Every single opportunity that this team had to buckle here yesterday, they didn't. Every single time it seemed like they were out of it, or whoa, that one, no, that's too much. There's no coming back from that. A lot of times stuff that wasn't even their fault. The ridiculous non-safety call when TJ was being held. Wow, was he mad? And I don't even mean what he was saying to the refs on the field. I mean the stuff he was telling me afterward. That could have rattled them, but it didn't. And those 3 words, if you just attach them to every single thing you didn't like yesterday, you'll have your answer as to how they're 7-2. It's because they've got good football players. It's because they're a good football team. But it's also because they're not breaking. They're getting stronger with each one of these ordeals. They would not have beaten this particular opponent a month ago. They wouldn't have been operating in the same stratosphere 2 months ago. They've formed a firmer foundation underneath their own feet. They're feeding off each other. They're supporting each other. These are things that really good teams do. These are all positives. These are all things that I haven't seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh boy, I'm not even sure I can attach a year to it. What, since the time they were in the AFC Championship game in Foxborough? I mean, maybe that far back? These results, these little results within the bigger result. This is what you want. This is what these guys are playing for. So yeah, it could have been a loss, but it wasn't. When we come back, J1Q. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George is a personal injury law firm in Western Pennsylvania that represents injured people in automobile accidents, workers' compensation cases, and medical malpractice claims. The attorneys at Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George pride themselves in doing what they say they're going to do. It's important to them that when they make you a promise, they keep that promise. And this law firm has been keeping promises for over 80 years. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has been AV rated. That's the highest rating a law firm can receive for legal ability and ethics. And the lawyers at the firm have been designated super lawyers, that's a real thing, for over 15 years. Rare combination there. Luxembourg, Garbett, Kelly & George has offices in Cranberry, Newcastle, Beaver Falls, Butler, and Elwood City. Learn more about them at lgkg.com or by calling 888-842-5454. Again, that's 888-842-5454. Today's J1Q comes from Isaac, who says, DK, the only thing that scares me about this game is Alex Highsmith's injury. Should I be scared? The answer right now, at least from this completely non-medical perspective, is no. But I obviously reserve the right to be overruled by actual medical professionals. I saw Alex afterward, and I was not expecting to see Alex afterward, because generally speaking, the more serious injuries, guys will stay in the athletic trainers' rooms and continue receiving treatment. And my first thought when I saw Alex was, if he's not wearing a boot or something, a heavy bandaging, then he doesn't have a break. So that was a good start. His left ankle, I saw it. It was a lot bigger than his left ankle usually is, as you can imagine from the way he sprained it. But the first thing that would happen there is that there'd be an x-ray. And not only did he not have a bandage or a boot or anything like that, but he was walking on it. He was moving on it. He was getting cleaned up, getting dressed, the whole thing, with a little bit of assistance, but he was, again, not immobilized in any way. So no matter what the result is of the tests that he'll be having today in Pittsburgh, meaning MRIs, to check for ligament damage, ligament strains, the no break is in and of itself a positive, obviously. Now, I'm going to mention this too, because you asked if you should be worried or whatever. And this is in full recognition of how well Alex played here yesterday. I thought he might have been the Steelers' best overall defensive performer. I thought Jaden Daniels had no answers for what Alex and TJ Watt were doing to him. I had told you all through last week that this wasn't going to be one of those games where Alex and TJ or anybody runs up individual statistics. I told you there's a way that they face quarterbacks like this, and it's going to be the same way that they'll face Lamar Jackson and the Ravens this weekend, and that's to hold them into a certain area. Don't over pursue. Don't go past them. Remember? Well, I still saw, heard, and read all kinds of people. Where's TJ? What's going on? TJ was doing exactly what was being sought of him. Alex was doing exactly what was being sought of him. I asked Patrick Queen after the game, he was fresh off the best game he's had in a Pittsburgh uniform. What was the key to containing Daniels? And he said, we have elite edge rushers. We have edge rushers who can do anything. And they showed that here. So on that note, the reason that I would not advise going overboard with worry about Highsmith is that Nick Herbig has at least a chance to be back for the Baltimore game. They're different players. They remind us of that on a regular basis. And Alex, in turn, reminded us of how much he was missed when he was out earlier. Plus, remember that Preston Smith was acquired and Smith was out there. He played, not just as a fill-in. He got his reps. He got his 2 quarterback hits. He made an impact. And I got to tell you, between him and Mike Williams, between Smith and Williams, these two have already so quickly fit in with this group, at least, as best as I can tell. They're happy. They're engaging with each other. They're saying all the right stuff. That's been neat in and of itself. And you want to know something? That's another thing that occurs in a winning atmosphere, in a high expectations atmosphere. You go into a specific setting, maybe even just a specific play, and you anticipate that the right thing is going to happen and that it's going to happen to your benefit. Kind of like a 4th and 1 at midfield at the end of the game, in which all you really want is for somebody on their defense to move just a little bit. And one of them does. And all of your guys jump up and down like it's Kennywood Day. Lots of fun and lots of fun to come, my friends. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Steelers. And don't forget to tune in today at 4 p.m. for a double shot with much more.